everyone, it's Mike again. I'm back to talk about my vinyl collection. A week ago, I put up a video about my Bauhaus collection, and today's band is going to be kind of a continuation of that. Back in 1982, Bauhaus released this album, The Sky's Gone Out, and around the same time, guitarist Daniel Ash got together with the roadie for Bauhaus, or one of the roadies for Bauhaus, a guy by the name of Glenn Campling. He just happened to play bass and synthesizers, keyboards, so they got together, went into the studio, and released a 4-song EP. The band, their project, they decided to name their little band Tones on Tail. So this is their first release, self-titled Tones on Tail, 12-inch. 4 songs, Bigger Splash, Means of Escape, Copper, and Instrumental. The first 2 songs have lyrics, and the other 2 songs are instrumentals. There's Daniel Ash there, Glenn Campling down here. Released on 4AD Records back in the day, 1983, or 82, excuse me. 1982 is what the label looks like, 4AD. And in the back, it's a familiar image, an image that I've seen 4AD use on other releases. So that was 1982. Also in 1982, they released a single called There's Only One, and the B-side is called Now We Luster. I do not have that. It's not a song that I'm really that crazy about from Tones on Tail, so I haven't really gone out of my way to try to get it. It's not cheap. So I'm just gonna, I've got it in other formats, so I'm just gonna stay with that for now at least. The next release they had was 1983. They put out a 12-inch called Burning Skies, another 4-song EP. Burning Skies, Okay, This Is the Pops, When You're Smiling, and You, the Night, and the Music. I think this is their best of the 3 by far. Burning Skies is classic. It's such a classic Tones on Tail song. It's got all the feel and everything of what they're about, to me anyway. I love Burning Skies, so this is a great release. This is on Situation 2 Records. I forgot to mention 1983, Bauhaus had broken up. Kevin Haskins joins the band. He's the drummer from Bauhaus. So it's Kevin Haskins, Daniel Ash, and Glenn Campling now. The first 2 releases that I mentioned before, they used a drum machine for those. And they still use the drum machine here and there, but only in concert with Kevin Haskins on live drums. So Situation 2 Records, label looks like that. The glare from the inner sleeve doesn't block that from showing. Situation 2, 1983, 4-song, 12-inch EP for Tones on Tail. Then, so that was 83, so 84, they released their first and only full-length record. This is called Pop. It's on Beggar's Banquet Records. 9 songs. Really great album. Really more polished. The first releases, they were kind of a little rough around the edges, whereas here they're really produced quite well. A lot of tricks, a lot of studio tricks they put on these songs to get some great effects. Performance is a very synth-laden song with kind of a dance beat to it, and it's a fantastic song. Rain is this kind of, starts out as this kind of ambient type song, and then it evolves into this kind of just a really atmospheric, just a beautiful song with all kinds of loops and effects and organs and all kinds of crazy sounds. They don't sound really like Bauhaus, but it sounds like if Bauhaus were to have come from like outer space. It's just got a different whole vibe and feel to it, but it's kind of dark and sinister at times, but at other times it's kind of campy and fun and upbeat and silly. And the song Happiness on here was influenced by the Cure song Love Cats. So if that kind of gives you an idea, it's like, well, that's kind of the opposite of Bauhaus. Well, yeah, Tones on Tail is like all over the place. They're dabbling in all kinds of sounds and experiments and just having a fun time. Danny says, when he's interviewed, he says that Tones on Tail was the most fun project he's ever worked on. So that's over Bauhaus and Love and Rockets. That kind of tells you kind of what the the feel is for this. It's fun, it's interesting, it's challenging, and it's from outer space. I mean, it's just crazy fun, interesting music. I love it. This is on Beggar's Banquet, 12-inch full-length album. The inner sleeve, there's the band, Danny, Kevin, and Glenn, and there's the lyrics on the back. It's, again, Beggar's Banquet label, similar to what we saw in all those Bauhaus records I showed. They released a single from this album, Performance. That's the electronic kind of dance beaty kind of one that I talked about. The B-side is called Shakes, and Shakes is like a remix of Performance. Beggar's Banquet, so that's a cool little extra there. Again, the labels are the same. A little aside note, they released this same pop album during Record Store Day, I think a couple years ago. The cover was redone, so the layout's different. It's kind of cropped here, and it's got this silver foil stamp on the lettering and the frame around it. That's a nice little collector's item, I suppose. The back's exactly the same. The inner sleeve is exactly the same. The labels on the record are different. They're a little custom. Instead of the Beggar's Banquet label, it's these little custom ones there. But the song list is exactly the same. It's just reissued and just a nice little collector's item to have. Just to show you what the difference of the record covers side by side. So that's the only difference, is really just the way they cropped the photograph and then added the silver foil. They've re-released this again. You can find this now pretty easily, but instead of having the foil, it's just white. So back to kind of the original printing treatment that they did for the original release. They released the domestic version of this, is called the Album Pop. So it has a lot of the same songs as that original album, but they switched out 3 of the songs, took out 3 and added 3. The new songs are Go, Christian Says, and Twist, wherever Twist is right there. Those are the 3 new songs that they've added here. Those songs were taken from a couple of singles that they released that I'm about to show. A lot of water damage on this. I'm trying to find a replacement to this that's not too crazy expensive. But I was living in college at the time. I had a crappy college ghetto apartment across the street from campus. And bad rain, it's in Florida, it rains all the time. And water got in and soaked the carpet and soaked the box that these were in. And a lot of my records got water damage like that. The ones that I had in the plastic sleeves are absolutely fine, but those ones that unfortunately I did not have in the plastic sleeves got ruined. But the record still plays. This is what the record looks like, PVC records, front and back. Apparently it's supposed to come with an inner sleeve. I never got an inner sleeve when I bought it, so I'm hunting down hopefully a reasonably priced copy of that album plus the inner sleeve included. So that's one of my current searches right now. They released, like I said, they released 2 singles during this time. Christian Says, off of this domestic release. Christian Says, and this is Beggar's Banquet as well, and then the B-side is Twist. Again, Beggar's Banquet. But these are, that one is blue vinyl to match the cover. And actually, this is like the first time I've ever had colored vinyl. This is back in 1985, 86 when I had these, when I bought these. The other one is Lions, which was an original song off the original release, and then Go, which was added to the domestic version. Again, Beggar's Banquet, and red vinyl to match the cover. That song Go, if you know anything, if you've ever heard Tones on Tail, this is probably the song you've heard. If anything, it's going to be this one. This has been played on television commercials, movie soundtracks. It's been on Stranger Things. Their most popular song, I don't know. It doesn't really do much for me, quite frankly. I prefer a lot of their other songs more, but that's their most well-known. After that was it for Tones on Tail. That was their only release was Pop, and then the album Pop, same album. And then Situation 2, after they broke up and went on to do other things, Situation 2 put out this, which is a compilation of their first 3 releases. These 2 I already showed you. And then this third one is the There's Only One single that I don't have. So that's what those covers look like. You've already seen those 2. So yeah, so they just, I guess, wanted to cash in. I guess one last cash grab at Tones on Tail, 1985. Did I say that right? Yeah, 1985. Situation 2. They had changed their labels, I guess, by this point. So that's a cool release. What was I going to say? So they broke up and went on to do other things. Glenn Campling, I don't know, he's off doing whatever he's doing. But Daniel Ash and Kevin Haskins joined up with Kevin's brother, David J. from Bauhaus, and they created Love and Rockets. So that's what they were doing after Tones on Tail. And then fast forward 2016, I belong to like Bauhaus Facebook groups, and I belong to Daniel Ash Facebook groups. And all of a sudden I got this post that Daniel Ash was thinking about starting up the band, kind of, sort of Tones on Tail, and I go out and do some live shows. So he got together with Kevin Haskins and Kevin's daughter, Diva. She was going to play bass and whatever odds and ends things, keyboard sometimes. She sang backup sometimes, and played the drums on the song Happiness. But they got together, all 3 of them, went to the rehearsal studio and started rehearsing Tones on Tail songs, as well as Love and Rocket songs, and one Bauhaus song, Slice of Life, which is the song that Danny wrote, and it sounds very much like a Tones on Tail song anyway, even though it's on the last Bauhaus album. So they decided they're going to go out and do tours. So I immediately bought the tickets to the very first show. It was at the Swing House Studio in Los Angeles. So I drove out there and saw them for that first show. They played, I'd say half the set was Tones on Tail, and then almost half the set was, the other half of the set was Love and Rockets. And then they did the one Bauhaus song, and then they did some Daniel Ash solo stuff. At least one solo song, Flame On, and they did covers. They did like an Adamant cover. And I believe they did Heartbreak Hotel too, which is obviously the Elvis cover. Fantastic shows. They went on and did a bunch of different cities, East Coast, West Coast. I saw them twice in LA, and then once in Salt Lake, and then once in Phoenix. And then they toured again the next year. They changed up the set list. They added some new songs, took out some of the other stuff. And I went and saw them in LA again because I wanted to hear them do Ball of Confusion and All in My Mind and 101 Minutes Drag and Burning Skies, all these different songs that they didn't do on the first tour, they did on the second one. So I got to see pretty much every song that they played on that tour. So that was pretty awesome. And then they kind of vanished again. We thought that they'd get together and go in the studio and maybe make a new Tones on Tail album. That wasn't to be, just wasn't in the cards. Danny is already off, started a new band, doing new things. So good for him. He seems very happy with his new music project. So let's see what happens and see how that turns out. So that Poptone group that he did I say that it was called Poptone? I don't think I did. So the band that he formed to go out and tour with was called Poptone. It was named after a Public Image Limited song. But it's also, I think he picked it because he likes Public Image. I know that. But he also picked it, I think, because it's got pop in the title, which is the name of their only album, and it's got tone in it, which is the name of part of the name of their band. So Poptone makes sense. So they, before they left the scene completely, they put out a recording of live in the studio recordings. So these weren't live in concert, but just live in the studio recordings. All of these songs that they have on here, they played live at some point or another. So it's got a lot of the really good songs that I remember from the first round of tours that they did. It's a 2-record set. The inner sleeves show pictures of them recording in the studio. And then the other insert is kind of more the same. There's Danny playing saxophones. He plays sax on the song Movement of Fear, so I imagine that's what they were doing there. And then, so it's a 2-record set. Oh, these are heavy. That's what the labels look like, and it's printed on white vinyl. So it's pretty nice. Poptone. And they also released CDs, so I picked up a CD as well. I think I picked up the CD at the actual concert and then got the record later. But that's what that looks like. For a little bit of history lesson for me, CDs, when they started first coming out back in, I got this one in 1987. This one was released in 1987. And it was the first CD that I ever bought. And it makes total sense that I would buy this one. I didn't even have a CD player at the time. I just wanted to have it because it was Tones on Tail. And this was it, Night Music. It's just a collection of songs of theirs. The first release that I'd ever seen of anything of Tones on Tail on CD, so I grabbed it. Was so excited I couldn't wait to get a CD player now that I had this and I could listen to it anytime and not have to listen to records, because back in those days, you know, CDs were coming out and they were like the new hottest thing and the greatest audiophile invention and all that stuff. So I was just really happy to pick up Tones on Tail, and that was my very first CD. Later on in years, I purchased a couple other ones. This is called Everything. It's literally every studio release song that they ever did. And then this one, just another collection, random collection of songs or whatever. I had other Tones on Tail CDs, but I don't know what happened to them. One called Weird Pop. I don't know. I can't find them right now. And then the last thing I want to talk about, since I belong to the Daniel Ash Facebook page, and he would post like links to his personal website where he put up like paintings and stuff for sale. He was always dabbling around, and he lives out in California. He's always dabbling and doing paintings, artwork, and all kinds of stuff, and making prints of his work, and then he'd sell the prints and he'd autograph them or whatever. Well, he came up with this one offer, and I couldn't pass it up. It's a reproduction of a notebook that he had, I guess, back in art school or whatever, and it's got, excuse the jerk on the motorcycle outside, making all kinds of racket. But seriously, dude, this is a collection of scribblings and lyric sheets that he did, hand-drawn stuff, handwritten lyrics throughout the years. This is all Tones on Tail material. So it's really kind of interesting as a Tones on Tail fan. I know all the lyrics for the most part to the songs. To hear to read different iterations of the songs and early song titles that he ended up not using and that kind of stuff, and plus just all the drawings are funny or interesting or whatever. It's just seen inside the mind of Daniel Ash, and Daniel Ash is my favorite member of Bauhaus, if you couldn't tell. So I'm just fascinated by all this kind of stuff. So this is a really cool little booklet that he made and put out a few copies of this for sale, and he autographed mine, and he says he put love Daniel Ash, so that was really sweet. Anyway, that's all my Tones on Tail stuff. I really appreciate you guys watching this long. It went kind of long, but I could talk about Tones on Tail forever. Y'all have a great weekend, and I really appreciate all the people that have liked my videos and subscribed and stuff, and I know I've got like a really low number, but hopefully that'll go up in time. Just thanks a lot. I really appreciate y'all watching, and I know time is precious, and you guys spending time watching this stuff is, I just want you to know I really appreciate that. And y'all take care, have a great weekend, and peace. Go Suns.